as a ball marker?
Every round of my life.
That's awesome. So where are you right now playing golf?
Some shithole resort in Kentucky where we play 36 holes a day for the next 3 days, like a Ryder Cup type tournament.
Isn't shithole and resort in Kentucky kind of redundant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. Yeah, it goes a little hand in hand.
Is this a company trip? Who are you with?
No, it's family. It's called the Family and Friends. So we got a trophy and 16 of us. So no company though.
Yeah. Do you get pretty loaded for those rounds?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm scared to turn my computer. Yeah, there's tons of alcohol. And some gummies too. We got a little gummies in the action. This should be a fun little weekend.
I mean, I don't mind. I'm bad enough playing golf with a buzz. I can't even imagine with a few gummies. How do you pull that off?
The gummies relax you a little bit, though. You get out there, get zoned in. I mean, you can't go too crazy to where you're like falling asleep in the cart or something. But if you get that perfect number, you're good to go.
There you go. Brian, have you ever golfed under the influence of gummies?
Not gummies, but under the influence, of course.
Yeah, of course. Do you smoke, Brian?
What?
Marijuana.
Never.
You've never?
No, not really. No.
Okay.
No gummies either. Nothing.
No, I'm not opposed to it. If someone offered it to me and the time was right, I don't like if I'm gonna get like messed up, it's like always alcohol.
Okay.
It's a good way to go. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not as frequent as it used to be. So like when it does happen, it's like, well, I'm gonna drink. I'm not gonna.
Okay. I was worried it was maybe because you're afraid of the police state, kind of giving you a frisking when finding your marijuana.
Yeah, you should be. You should be.
So Big T, you messaged Brick a few weeks ago. You said you gotta get me on Lolz. What's the deal here? Got some takes?
It's just been very hurtful that I see you guys every week. You bring I'm like 147th on the list of guests. I mean, we were on a basketball team together. I picked you number 1 overall. It's very hurtful that I haven't been invited yet.
Well, first of all, we actually don't even book most of our guests. Ricky D 2 weeks ago messaged us to come onto the show. So I guess I should just put this out there. If you want to come on Lolz, just slide into the DMs and be a successful DFS player. That also helps.
Right, I didn't know that part. You should have clarified that. I don't know if I could come on.
Well, I guess if you have a lot of Twitter followers, that counts too.
That's like the Siege's requirement. Yeah. That's you guys too? You got to have the minimum number?
I'm still trying to unpack that. So did someone from there say Siege, you can bring 5 people provided they all have a big following and tweet out how great the experience is? Is that what we think happened?
I'm not really sure what happened.
I didn't look into it too closely. My guess was interpreting it charitably is if you say over 5,000 Twitter followers, the odds that the guy's going to kill you is pretty low. You know what I mean? Like a rando.
You think Siege has to worry about doxing himself to randos? He needs to go into this private club with an entourage.
I bet the over under on people out there willing to kill Siege is at least 2.5.
A couple years ago, I was in Vegas that weekend for fantasy football drafts, and we got invited to, I think it was the FFWC penthouse party, and I walk in, and none other than Siege just saddled up at the bar. I mean, he's the king of Vegas is what I'm learning here.
I agree. Every time I've been there with him, he is the king.
That's right.
Isn't he a St. Louis guy?
He's definitely from St. Louis, but he goes to Vegas for all these drafts. I bet he spends over a month a year in Vegas.
Yeah. But then the other thing, Big T, about the invite, I mean, it was probably a year ago. It was when we had the big Awesemo versus Empire Maker high stakes, and Blake went on your guys' show, and Hoop was, I think, talking a little bit of shit about us, and you were pretending like you didn't even know us on that show.
No, stop. What did I say? I didn't pretend like I didn't know you. No.
Hoop was going
run the tape
on that show, and you just got real quiet, and you didn't say anything.
I mean, I didn't defend you guys, but I also didn't pretend like I didn't know you. I was in the middle ground.
Oh no, you acted like you said we were on the same basketball team, and then it was like you never even knew me.
No, not true at all. The only time I've ever given you shit is when you kept posting those videos. What were they called? When you're like in a damn trash can and like popping your head. What are those things you were doing called?
Videos that people love on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you told me I wasn't allowed to post screenshots without the number or whatever we were saying.
Yeah, it kind of cuts both ways. The things we're doing to go viral on the internet, right, Big T?
I'm all for it. I'm a fan of the Lolz.
Yeah. Have you been listening to our show? What made you want to pop on and chop it up?
Because I like you guys. What, I can't want to come on the show? I mean, if I like you too. And, I mean, it's a fun show to come on. Have a drink. Partake a little bit here.
Did you listen to the Ricky D show?
I did not, because I actually don't like it. I like a lot of people, but he's one of those people I actually don't like that much. he just talks shit. Did he talk shit about me on there? No.
Ryan, wouldn't you say Ricky D is like ushered in this new Zen version of himself?
Has he?
Yeah. He's into the outdoors and thinking about gambling and stuff. He did another podcast with Maddock. He did the Take Cast too. Did either of you guys listen to that one?
Yeah, I just love that Davis had to get our sloppy seconds.
Blender too. But yeah, he's definitely on this quest. It seems like a little bit.
He's less anti-tout now because
this kid played up.
Yo.
Yes.
Big T's
Did you hear that? There a bunch of people just came in there. But,
you're good. So, what's good with you these days? Because are you grinding? I see you grinding the baseball slates. You're just living the DFS dream.
I've always been a grinder. I like playing every day. I like playing all the sports. Like I like following my boy Brick. A Brick freaking ships all the cheese every night. I like following his path.
I wish. Never hit a milli maker.
You don't need to hit a milli when you ship 100K every week.
No, you still need a milli occasionally.
That helps.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
I like the grind. Brick likes the grind too. I like the grind.
See, but you both love the grind, but you go on vacations, Big T. This is a hot.
I still play though. I still play though. I don't take off days ever. Like even today, I was driving all day doing stuff. I still get in all the contests and I still grind. I don't take off. Even last week, we took the kids to Disney. We were there for a week, and I still played every day, grinded even during the All-Star break.
How
got a freaking kidney stone too. Have you ever had a kidney stone?
No.
God, it wasn't fun. It was rough.
That sounds horrible.
When you say you're like in those environments, are you just making lineups on your phone, or are you?
No, at the computer, and I mean not every single day at the computer, but most days, yeah. The wife's on the same page with it. She knows. That's
right. That's how the sausage gets made.
There's no doubt.
What
are you doing? I want to know what you're doing. Are you going to establish the run? What are all these rumors? Like, are you doing content for them? What am I hearing?
I'm a full-time TikTok star now.
You're already that, so I want to know what you're doing currently. That was what you've always been.
Thank you for acknowledging that. I'm all over the place. I'm doing my own YouTube, making some videos for them. We're full-time now doing content.
I love it.
Yeah.
On the rise.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Definitely on the rise.
All right. Well, I'm still kind of I'm a DFS poser because I really only play NFL. I've tried to dabble, but I just don't have the love for the all sport grind like you two.
I don't have.
You don't need
it.
No.
Who cares?
The grind itself, not even setting aside the sports. You guys love the process of every day making lineups.
I do money. For sure. Exactly. And the more you play, the more, not that you're going to win because we all have streaks where we go the other way, but I don't know. The more I play, the more I feel like it's going to go up for sure.
What's the Big T State of the Union on DFS? What's the current landscape of the games and stuff right now?
I think it's better than ever. It might be not a popular take, but I think it is. So many of the top players stopped playing. So at least for me, I've had a few good years along the last 6 or 7. Obviously this year with the Millie. But even if you take the Millie out this year, it's still been one of my best years so far from the other hits because – but you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's because so many people stopped playing. Like the games are just easier now, I think.
I mean, yeah, some guys have stopped playing. Like the Burrito Brothers aren't playing baseball. Did you know? I'm assuming you noticed that.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Who else quit? Are you talking about?
I mean, tons of people like CSU, all of like the crew that I talk to more doesn't really play all that much. I mean, I don't even think like Empire and Bryce are playing all that much. So I don't know. Like without actually looking at the list, there's a ton of people though that I think used to play a ton that don't play anymore, or at least don't play a ton anymore.
So it feels like you lost some of the sharks at the top, but there's still a lot of casual people that are playing.
I mean, the contests are filling every day. The contests are just as big as ever. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's easier. Maybe it's just that things have clicked a little more for me this year, but it has to be something to do with the games being a little softer too.
What do you think, Brian?
I mean, I would say obviously it's my opinion that I definitely don't think it's easier. I think it's harder. Like we're comparing to let's say 2017 or something, right? Like
not to the early days. I'm not talking about when you couldn't lose in the very beginning.
I still think, even like 2017 or whatever, it's definitely, in my opinion, harder. But also, like, you got to admit, like, the tools are better.
We'll get a capital T.
And so, like, if we admit the tools are better for people, he'll be back, obviously. If the tools are better for people, like, just by logic, the games are tougher.
So I can talk more on that just because I think that helps me in a way from being contrarian because everyone just plugs in the numbers, the projections. Like almost everyone that has these nice optimizers, Cruncher and RG and whatever site people use. I mean, they plug it in, put their projections, and they're not capable of thinking outside the box at all, which I think is one of my strengths. It might hurt me at times too. I'm assuming you're more numbers based too because you just hammer those 150s and stuff, but I'm just not as good at that as other people. I'm more strong at making slight adjustments to the projection and like seeing who I might be higher on than the average projections and maybe lower and kind of adjusting. But I think so many people just go in and just plug in the numbers and go with it. So that kind of helps me in a way.
Yeah, maybe. But it also kind of raises the floor. Because even if they just plug in the numbers and go, it's like not.
They're going to have a pretty good team. I agree with that.
Better than it was before, and but the way you just described what you were doing is kind of like how I see everyone else doing it. Is so like basically you have like your guys who do their own thing, right? Pete is like I don't know, the whistle goes woo guys, and then you have the other crew where they just make these small adjustments and stuff to what everyone else is doing somehow. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not like they're not going in and building their own projections with regressions and running sims or something. They're just coming up with ideas on how to trick the optimizer and giving it what they want. But like, I think that's kind of like everyone is doing in between those two levels of the sim bros, the just plug and play dummies. And in between that, everyone's just trying to figure out their little tweaks, like ownership versus stack ownership, and all that type of shit. And they're just making up their own adjustments. At least that's how I picture everyone doing it.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah. So like I said, like I don't see how. Now, obviously, you can have a better process in that middle tier than everyone else, but I don't see how. That still is all better than it was in 2017. Like in 2017, you didn't even need ownership, probably. You didn't even need to think about it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. Do you get like when you're doing your streams, you guys get a lot of people watching your Run Pure streams. Do you get a lot of people tailing your plays to where you're more duplicated than you otherwise would be?
So I am probably more transparent than almost anyone. I don't give full teams and stuff, but I basically say what I'm going to do if you listen to the streams and kind of get it. There was 2 nights I can remember in basketball where one of the members beat me with my own team, basically, where the 2v2 or whatever was better than my 2v2. And the sick part is, you guys know the structures. Like, it's $100K for first, it's $30K for second a lot of times. So when you see a membership $100K and you win 30, I mean, it is what it is, though. It's part of the business, and I think that's what makes us a little different at Run Pure. We're talking about what we're doing, and people definitely tail it. Well, football last year, I had one of my worst football seasons I've ever had. I just couldn't get anything going, and it was kind of the opposite. Obviously, when you're ice cold, people aren't going to tail as much because they're tilted and stuff. But since the heater this year has been pretty much the whole year, a lot more people tail for sure.
I mean, it's obviously good when you're running hot, but do you feel the pressure knowing that people are just going to be copying what you're doing, knowing that they want some of that heat?
I don't ever feel pressure with that kind of stuff just because I'm so transparent that, people see when I lose, when I win. That's why I get so mad when people like call me out too and like say, you're scamming this or scamming that, because it's just not true. Like when I'm winning, I just said, like, during football, I didn't win anything in there. I don't know. I don't feel the pressure, but it is what it is. Of course, when you have bad nights, people get in there and talk shit and, oh, blah, 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 I lost all my money, this and that. But it's all part. I mean, when people win, you get probably more credit than you deserve too. Like, oh, Big T won me all this money where, yeah, I helped them win it, but they still had to make decisions on their own and go through their own process.
So a big difference, again, thinking about the changes and stuff where you could be right, is because of that top heavy structure. It wasn't as top heavy as it is now. And like that leans more towards being good with bankroll management. So like being a gambler for a long time, you might have like a natural tendency to know when to reel it back or put 20 entries in instead of 150 or something like that. And just someone who's not good or just playing the exact same strategy when the times have changed, they could go broke. You could go broke a lot easier. So you might have been getting rid of a few like average or slightly above average players through variance. It's definitely a possibility.
No, I agree for sure. I mean, I've fixed some of my leaks with that kind of stuff where I don't remember which year. It might have been 2017 where I had a huge year and then dumped so much of it back just from playing above my head. And then this time, like after the Millie, people were all over me because they're like, why aren't you playing higher? And I'm just comfortable with the numbers I'm playing right now. So there's no reason really to – sure, I'll take more stabs and stuff. I'm not saying I don't. But on a normal basis, I'm pretty much playing the same thing I was playing before the big hits. I think that's important because I wouldn't have done that before. I mean, the last huge year I had, I thought I couldn't lose and just overconfident, dumped a ton back. And I'm sure everyone has gone through that at some point in life. If you've gambled enough, right, you've definitely gone on the swings where you're like, ooh, I can't win no more.
Yeah, I think it's this like kind of, it's not a fallacy, but I think it's a misinterpretation of bankroll management of, okay, you have a 5% edge. Here's a Kelly calculator. Here's how much you should bet, is kind of like, that is the mathematically correct thing. Here's the problem though. You never know what your edge is because the landscape in poker and DFS and sports betting, I guess is a little bit different, but you never know what your edge is going to be. Well, and even in sports betting, like say COVID happens, like, okay, where's your edge? Maybe home field advantage is different now. And maybe your projections are crap. So like, you can't just like go, okay, I want $1 million, I have $1 million bankroll. So let me look at Roto Tracker. I'm at, 10% edge. Okay. I could bet this much now. It's like, it doesn't work like that. It's a constantly flux, changing thing.
Yeah, I agree.
What have you been getting much into the sports betting side of things, even from like a content standpoint, or you still just enjoy DFS the most?
No, I've got into a bunch. I mean, obviously more during football. I've got into it pretty big on our bet side. I haven't done a ton as far as baseball, just because I don't like to talk about stuff that I don't. Back to your original thing, where pressure. I don't like to talk a ton about stuff that I don't think I have a huge edge. In betting baseball and stuff, I don't think I'll be a winner long term. Sure, I can pick my spots and hit a game here and there that I like, but I don't know. I don't want to be – we have a good team too, so I don't really have to put that pressure on myself. We have guys that I think have proven to be winners long term on the bet side that don't even play DFS. So I don't know. I haven't dove that much into it. The only thing I really tout hard is like some of the teasers for the NFL, which have been profitable for me for a long time. But besides that, I would say it's more just DFS for me.
Yeah. I'm curious because one thing I feel like Brian and I talk a lot about too is, the reasons people, sign up for sites. And obviously the snap reaction is gonna be like, well, I want to make money. I want to be good at this. But I always think there's more to it, right? Like people want to be on a team. They want to, feel like they're part of a tribe. What has been your experience with like Run Pure subs? What percentage of it is just, hey, help me make money versus, no, I want to hang out with you guys regularly?
I think it's both. I think they really Tommy G is the best at this, honestly. Like you can say what you want about Tommy, but what he did at Guru, he had that mob mentality where everyone's with us. We're picking winners together. We're picking losers together. We're just in it together, and it's us against everyone else. And I think that we do that pretty good too at Run Pure, where everyone feels a part of it, and a lot of it has to do with the Discord. Like everyone's in there. You're talking about the plays. You're kind of rooting on similar stuff. If someone's in there being super negative about plays, the mob is kind of getting on them, like talking about the long-term process and different things like that. I think it's more being a part of us than the winners, but obviously you got to have some winners too, or people aren't going to keep paying money to be in there.
This is kind of like a complicated thing. On this show, we have said it 100 times, like value subjective. And, someone can make a stupid purchase of a shirt that costs $500 that costs 5 cents to make. And it's none of your fucking business if they want to do that. But like with the touting thing, it's a little bit hard because sides and total, especially NFL and stuff like that, like they're almost unbeatable. So like saying you got like an edge there is, I think is a little too much for my taste. But also, as we know, you guys just alluded to one. People just want to be in the community, and so they don't give a shit if they're losing 5 cents a line. You know what I mean? Like it's not even that much to them in their overall the amount of money they make in their life. And also, you can fade someone. You can subscribe to their site and then fade them. There's there's nothing wrong with any of these reasons. It doesn't have to be this kind of like Vegas Dave, 100-0 guaranteed or nothing, environment.
Yeah, I mean, so many people, I think one of the underrated things is so many people don't, this is going to sound bad, but they don't care if they win, honestly. They're doing it for fun. They're playing for between like $5 and $100 a day. They're literally treating it as fun. Yeah, they want to win. I'm not saying they want to lose on purpose, but they love getting in there. And just so many people don't know. They know they don't have an edge. They know they're not going to win by themselves. And you know what? Maybe they have a better chance with a site, whether it's Run Pure, whether it's Roto Grinders, whatever site it is. Maybe that gives them a slight better chance. I say the same thing about like Stake Kings. I know it was polarizing when I used to do it, and still guys like Brandon Adams and respected people do it. I don't have an issue anyone charging any uptick in the number, because if someone's willing to pay it, how can you tell them that is not correct? What if I want to buy a piece of Phil Hellmuth for 3.0 on the dollar? Yeah, technically it's a horrible purchase. I'm not going to make money long term. But what if I want to be a part of him winning a bracelet? What if he banks it and wins $3 million? Then it's not a bad purchase. Like, I just think smart people are too infatuated with knowing it's a bad purchase and like overemphasizing to people when people might not care, honestly. Sure, if I told you you're for sure going to lose money, you're not going to do it, obviously. But that's not the case. I mean, you're not ever for sure going to lose.
Depends on how much you're for sure going to lose, because then I just bet the
opposite. Exactly.
Well, Brian, it sounds like do you want to talk about your Oppo betting?
No.
Okay.
But like, let's say the MMA's it's just MMA slate, and you're not a big MMA fan, but you know you're gonna watch all the fights. It's like, feed me some better, so I'm gonna bet on these. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just feed me something. I don't care. It's a total reasonable thing to do for $5 or whatever you're paying per day or week or whatever. Like it's like this the Vegas Dave, I think, type of person out there that really hurts just like any sort of like credibility for all these sites. There was a comment I wanted to address, but I didn't want to derail the conversation. Up higher, Pete, is Sam Deal. Big T blocked him. So for liking my pure shit sports. So that, first of all, that was a bit. So Ben the Better and me, when we were having our little bet,
which I was going to bet on you, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. He said he would never work for Awful Mole, and he made fun of yours. And I was like, so I responded, I'm like, Awful Mole's funny. The Run Pure one wasn't funny. I'm like, he should have done something on Pure, like pure shit. And then DC goes, Run, right? Wasn't it that? And then DC comes in and says, Pure Shit Sports. I can work for that company. And so I was just playing off of DC's line.
Well, Sam, you can make your case back to Big T. It seems like you might have done something else, Sam.
It might have been something else.
I mean, who knows what it is? It could have just been. I don't usually block people unless they just literally are just being negative for no reason, and just I'm a positive person. I don't care about this. People can talk trash all they want. That's different. In my mind, there's a difference between trash talk and just being a dick. Yeah. And if you're just going to be a dick, then I'm just going to block you, and I don't have to deal with it.
Going back to that idea of, people just wanting to be a part of a tribe and that stuff, how do you reconcile that with? Because I gave you shit for the screenshots, because that's what sells. Like, that's what gets people in the door. We all know that that's the marketing. Is it possible to market the, like, hey, our Discord's super fun. There's going to be some winners and losers, but we're going to have a great time. Like, how do you accurately portray what you're actually offering?
I wish we could do it better, honestly, because this is just the truth. Like, I think our Discord, because I've been in the Roto Grinders one, I've been in the Daily Roto Slack chat or whatever it was. I've been in ours. Ours is the best for sure. I mean, we have so many people in there that aren't coordinators. I mean, RBX, who you guys have talked to, he's won 3 millies. He's in there. I mean, you have all kinds of people in there that are super profitable people talking about the sports. I mean, I wish I could somehow convey it better, because so many people think it's like a scam in their head, and it's just honestly not true. Yeah, if you think you're going to sign up for Run Pure and just automatically win by looking at the cores and the projections and whatever else, that's not the truth. You got to have your own system. You got to know how to put it all together in your own way. But I promise you, 100%, without a doubt in my mind, if you sign up for $80 freaking bucks a month, which is not that much if you're playing every day, you will be a better player. I guarantee it. Like, I wish I could convey that better. There's no way you're not a better player if you get in there and you want to get better and you actually try to learn from what people are saying and form it into your own way. Like, I would argue with anyone, because I know you're going to be a better. Even if you don't like someone's plays, one of our coordinators, you think they suck, maybe you go the other way, like Rick's talking about, where maybe you have some sort of fate. Use it however you want, but I promise you, there's no way you're not a better player if you are using the Discord and the site how you should.
Brian, are you hanging out in any Discords? What's your Discord like these days?
Not very active. My Discord. I mainly have been in the Lolz Discord on your channel.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Big T. I started my Discord like last October, I think. And I always thought it was just like this gaming platform for people. I know RG had one too, but I like didn't see the appeal of it. And now it's almost like fully replaced Twitter for me, is where like I want to hang out during the day.
There's just so much good stuff in there. There is. I mean, there's people in our Discord literally from start to finish every day breaking down pitching matchups and whatever. There's so much crap in there on top of just gifts, making fun of people, different things that bring everyone together. Then at the end of the night, everyone's posting their screenshot. It's funny you say it's like Twitter because it is in a way. I mean, there's people posting screenshot upon screenshot every single night in there, almost showing off to the people just in the Run Pure crew, where it does kind of replace Twitter in a way.
It's a more like hyper localized Twitter. It's like, let's filter out all the trolls and create some barrier of entry for people who actually want to be here. You can still get trolls, but for the most part, like if you're getting into a server and spending time in there, you want to be there.
And the good part is too, like obviously it's my site and well, a couple of our sites, but if there's people in there just crazy, just trolling, just being dicks, you just kick them out. Like you can't kick people off Twitter. Like it brings more community together in there. And I mean, we don't have like some absurd amount, but we got over like 3,000 people in there. And for the most part, I'd say it's 95% all positive people trying to help each other.
What kind of, have you had to intervene with any moderator scenarios?
I mean, I have definitely had a few. I even had to when I first, because we merged when we first started with your DFS playbook, which was a smaller site that AP ran, and there was an MMA guy that was a coordinator, and he was talking like all kinds of shit, and I had to kick him out. Like in the beginning, it was one of the first things we did was ship his ass out of there.
It's always MMA guys.
I think I like made fun of him or something because he literally would just hedge every single fight. Like you know how a lot of these touts are like that. Like, oh, if it goes to the mat, this guy's gonna win. If it stands up, this guy's gonna win. And they do it every fight. And then at the end of the night, they like victory lap every fight on top of it. It's like you didn't take any stands. Like you didn't say anything.
He sounds like one of the guys that lists his score of the round after every single round of all 14.
He probably was.
You know, posting your records, I don't know if you do this, but posting your records is pretty, I think, is good business either way, because Sports Insights does it. And I don't know if I've ever used their pick. I think I've probably used a couple of their picks. But they've also their college basketball model, whatever was garbage this year. And at a point they were like 18-53, and they kept pumping out like here's our picks, here's our record, and I just started oppo betting them, and I won some money there too. It's like, okay, you guys probably haven't figured something out this year, but you might be completely so bad that it might be profitable the other way. And if you get up to like there's a new site called BetStamp, I think, right? BetStamp, where they track touts picks and stuff like that. You could, and they monitor it because they know exactly what the lines are in your area and what you can put in at that specific time. And they track their records and their ROIs and everything, and it's all public information. And so I don't know. I think like if I had some sort of site for some reason like that, I would definitely go down that route. Because even if you suck, I still think you can make money off it.
Well, that's the whole, I feel it was like when Action Network launched their app and they were starting to tether like their touts to their records within the app. And I feel like it goes back to this kind of like marketing thing where it's, the Rovels and the big personalities are what pull people in, but they're not professional sports bettors, and they're going to have losing records. And then it's like often your best sports bettors are the ones laying low, hammering the line early. And it's like, where do you find that happy medium of being transparent, showing the truth, while also like making sure you have big marketing personalities that can pull people in? I feel like it's so tough with sports betting to do that.
Just show it all. And here's, you can beat the smaller markets. Like there's ways to beat the smaller markets. There's Steam plays. Like this stuff will get you banned if you just hammer prop bets and Steam plays and stuff like that. But like there are still ways you could be a profitable bettor without being Rufus Peabody. But you're right. Like Rufus Peabody's not going to give you his picks. And once he gives you his picks, the edge is gone because he bet it all out and everyone's following him. The lines are changing. But like, that is I think the happy medium of just show all your picks. If you're gonna have the Darren Rovell, just fucking track them. Who cares? It's fun. You know what I mean? Just put it out there, and maybe separate it somehow, because like your prop bet guys or whoever's doing your projections or something like that, you should be able to beat those. So unless they start getting better at a decent clip, so you can still have some winning bets. You can have just the transparency of the guys betting for fun to tail you to oppo bet you, whatever. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, just lean into it.
Lean into it.
And I think that's the key, right? Because a lot of people, like, I don't think a Rovell wants to admit that he's bad at sports betting, right? Where some will be like, hey, I'm bad. Like, these are my, like, I know, there's this guy who's one of the underdog guys. I forget. He used to be on Barstool, and it's like one of the things he does is like fade Tyler, where it's like he puts out his picks. He's like, please do the opposite of me, similar to the oppo betting stuff. And you're leaning into that dynamic. And I think it's people, not every tout has the, I don't know, the stomach to be like, I'm so bad at this, do the opposite of what I'm doing.
Yeah, but I would definitely go that way. And like, okay, fine. Let's say the Roval's on your team and he doesn't want to admit it. Make fun of him on the other shows. Like, just be totally transparent. Like, yeah. And like, here's his record for the year. He's 30-55. He's garbage, you know, but like there are you can still, like, I think, play both sides, where if you can beat props in smaller markets, then you can show winning records there. You could show the losing the VIG records for somebody else, and you could show someone who's just got awful. And I don't think it's gonna kill you. I would, instead of doing the whole like in between, you know, Vegas Dave and we're never gonna talk about losing, you know, anywhere in between there, like, I would just do it totally transparent. Somebody's got to do that eventually.
What do you think, Big T? Is it possible to do sharp but also entertaining sports betting content?
I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm just stroking our site, but like we can go to our handicappers on the Run Pure Bet side, and they have all the records, and some of them are losing records. Like, I got the spreadsheet up right now. Any customer can look at them. Every single person has their record since we started. I mean, you got just looking at just the bets, people, nothing else. I mean, you got one guy down 11 units. You got one guy up 73 units, one guy down 3 units, one guy down 14 units. So, like, literally every single bet is basically what you guys are saying. Like, it's totally transparent. Every single day they go in there and they put them up. And I think, I mean, you guys probably know Uncle Dunkle, who on Twitter, well, Pete, you definitely know him from the RG days. And he's the most transparent dude you can have. Like, I've never met anyone that when he's on a heater, sports bet wise, he won't say anything. And when he's losing, he overtouts it. Like, I've lost 10 straight, or I've lost, like, he goes the opposite way almost of how I think I would sell it. Well, when I'm on a heater, I'm going to tell everyone. When I'm on a cold streak, I'm going to be a little more quiet. He does it the opposite. And I think, as crazy as it sounds, like, our bets team does it that way, whereas our DFS team is more like me, where we're going to let you know when we do good. It's the opposite.
I mean, I would consider going on that BetStamp site just for like the third party transparency. Maybe, you know, it might be too much work, but I guess if they're in your employees, you could tell them to put in the extra time.
Yeah.
But
and it would help because people will believe it, right? Like, just because it's in our spreadsheet, people still might be like, oh, it's not. You can do this and that, and you can.
Well, of course. You can. I mean, honestly, like, you could put it in at 140 on a site no one can get or something, or you can. Yeah. You put it in like you were gonna bet it and it changed to 130 and you're like, fuck, I'm just gonna put 140 because that's when I was looking at it an hour ago.
Of course.
You know, shit like that. Or
and you do that a couple times, you can skew the numbers for sure. I get it completely. Yeah. I wish it could be. Yeah, but we should check out that site, honestly, because I want to be transparent. Like I said, I consider myself one of the more transparent people. I'm not trying to fool anyone. I think our bets team is the same way. So anything we can do to prove that, and I'm not saying we're going to win. None of our bets team is like, we're going to win you 500 units this year. All they say is the same thing I'm going to say is we're going to hopefully make you a better wagerer, or whatever the hell the word is for it. And maybe you win, maybe you lose, but you're going to have some fun, and we're going to give you a chance at least.
I think that is kind of like a little space in the world right now. Being a marketing expert as I am, like not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about, but the whole everyone in the DFS world kind of just got into sports betting without like a specific plan at all. You know what I mean? So I feel like you can kind of capitalize on that. You know what I mean? And that could be like a Vegas Dave approach, but obviously that's not what I would do. And I would think if you like someone puts in the work, complete transparency with some combination of some sharp plays in the smaller markets, a teach 'em the fish type of approach too. Like here's how you price lines. Here's how you know what I mean? And you're probably not going to beat NFL sides on Sunday at 12 o'clock. So like just being that, and like here's our third party cross reference. Have at it. Like instead of like before, like everyone's just kind of just advertising. Here's our DFS guy. He's going to give you three bets now because sports betting's legal in 7 states. Like it seemed like there was no plan by anybody.
Tons of sites do that too.
The bigger ones bought and merged together, like Sports Insights and Fantasy Labs and Action Network and shit. They just bought someone who's already been doing it.
Yeah.
So Big T, you could this summer, no NFTs for you, no best ball drafts for you, just pure DFS giblets day in, day out.
Yeah. I have not done a single thing with NFTs. I've not done any best balls. Yeah, just DFS for me. I really just don't have any. Like I said, I consider myself pretty transparent. I don't think I have anything I don't think I can win at. I just don't really mess with. And I don't know as much about NFTs as other people. Some of my friends, I mean, Pete Jennings, CSU, is one of my best friends. I like him a lot. He's super into it, obviously. Doesn't mean I have to be super into it. I just don't know that much about it. Obviously, I think it's a good investment long term because so many sharp people are into it. I just don't know where I fit into that. One of the reasons I think I'm good at DFS and sports stuff is I like it, and it's not work to me. I don't know. With the other stuff, it's more I just don't understand it, and I don't know if I'm very good at it.
What about crypto, Bitcoin, or anything?
I got Bitcoin, and during the big spike when everybody kind of got into it, I lost a decent chunk just because I got in probably at the ceiling, just wanted to get in. I've messed around, and I've done pretty good since the initial spike and then drop. Like, I don't know when that was, a couple years ago, whatever the initial, when Deep Brain Chain was up to 60 cents, and I thought I was a genius with Empire, and then it went down to 1 cent, and I lost a bunch of money. But I think I've done decent since then. Really just Bitcoin and Ethereum now, though. I got a decent amount in there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the thing, right? I mean, I understand too, especially for, best ball, you're tying up your money for a long time when you could be turning that over in daily slates. I guess it's probably a different conversation of should I put some of that money in these investments too that are going to steadily rise over time. That's a little different than best ball.
Well, after Big T's heater, he doesn't really need that. He has a bankroll. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to take his crypto out and bet it daily fantasy. He's probably fine.
It's been a fun year. I'll say that much.
Did you consider yourself on a heater at during that like period there for whatever 2-3 months?
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, football. I literally had. It was weird because 2 years ago I had my best year ever. Then last year, I had my worst year ever where I didn't win. I literally didn't win a single NFL week. At least I didn't win more than like maybe break even, like you win a little bit. I didn't have any weeks. And then this year, it all started last year with the Super Bowl. I had my first ever losing 6-figure day in the 2 years ago Super Bowl. And then this year, right around there, I had a 100K hit, which felt kind of good because it was exactly 1 year after I lost the 100K, and then it just kind of snowballed. And I considered it a heater, and then the milli, and then the hits just kept coming to where eventually you hope maybe it's not a heater and you're just doing good. But like I said, I still don't think I'm overconfident. I'm still grinding just as hard and just trying because I know what can happen. The minute you get overconfident, it can go the other way in a hurry.
I saw this Negreanu. Sorry, Pete. I saw this Negreanu Polk pod the other day. I don't know if anyone watched it. And Doug Polk and Negron, you said one of his teachers during the Heads Up Challenge did a simulation of 2 Heads Up poker players who were exactly equal in ability, and he sent it a whole bunch of times. And the peak amount of losses, buy-ins, was 600. So at some point through all these simulations, one guy who was that equal to someone else was 600 buy-ins down to somebody else. So like for when I played back in the day for a living, 40 buy-ins, 6 max, no limit, was 40 buy-ins is what I would basically keep online. Everything over that's profit. You know what I mean? Unless I'm moving up in stakes or something, trying to move up. So like that just gives you like 40 buy-ins back then was like, that's enough. I'm never going to go broke. Obviously the games were a lot easier back then, but like, it was no whole, not PLO. PLO, I would say you probably need like 100 or something even back then. But like, so you know what that is? What is that? 20 times over going broke. So like, my point being is like the swings in GPP DFS are so fucking huge. It doesn't necessarily mean you're doesn't necessarily mean you're good or bad. I think in general though, like it definitely means like it's nearly impossible to run, sun run for so long. It's nearly impossible. It's just like you can't just win 100K every 2 weeks.
Then how do you explain Vegas Dave?
Unless you're Vegas Dave or one of the Burrito Brothers.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, it just is what it is for sure, and you just don't know. Like you know how many nights, literally, maybe you win a huge tournament because of some lucky pivot, maybe, or some guy hit the bomb instead of hits the wall. Or when you're on the cold streaks, you never get those breaks. When you're on the heaters, you don't realize it, but you're getting a lucky one here, and it's way closer of a line than you think. I mean, in NFL, maybe you get the late touchdown, 70-yard Derrick Henry run or something that gets you over the top, where when you're on a cold streak, you don't get that. And it's such a closer line than anyone could realize. And I think that's one thing you learn. I mean, from you playing poker and now DFS and just gambling in general, the swings, if you can handle the swings, you can win doing this. A lot of people can't handle the swings. And when they go on those losing streaks, it'll break them and they might never recover from it.
It's not even just the mental aspect, but that's definitely part of it. There's guys who are probably better than us who went broke, not because they couldn't mentally handle the swings, just because it's just such a fuck. They were the one who hit the 600 buy-in downswing. I guarantee there's monsters who aren't playing because they were just unlucky for the first year they played. I guarantee it's happened.
And then
the monsters that tried to dump it all off in hockey for some reason.
Wait, who was that? I'm not following that one.
No, Max Dahlberg, right? Like he was rolling along, and then he decided he wanted to max enter all the hockey and dump all his money to everybody.
Is that what happened? I thought it was heads up. I thought he was. I
mean, you probably know more than me. I know a lot of it was hockey though, where he's getting just smashed.
That was so long ago. It's pretty crazy that was that long ago that I can't even remember it. But I also thought he was like playing heads up. He had like a heads up.
It's Condia, right?
Condia was heads up. Maybe I'm mixing them up.
Yeah, no, he's the one that cleaned Condia out, and then I think other people cleaned him out.
Yeah.
Testosterone.
It doesn't matter.
The testosterone to take all of Sahil's money.
What Big T? What's your biggest pet peeve on DFS Twitter these days? What's the bee in the bonnet?
I hate probably the negativity is what gets me the most. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but the negativity definitely bothers me the most.
It did,
just in general.
Yeah, I'm not as plugged into DFS Twitter in the off season, but it does seem like a very a crew of curmudgeons for sure.
Like what? Yeah, go ahead.
I think for you two, specifically Big T, or just anyone in general, as soon as you start selling something, they come out. They come out of the wood.
Yeah.
And you're like, he's selling something. Oh, Pete hasn't had. You know.
Yeah.
We talked about this mentality on the show. Yeah.
I'm good with it too, honestly. Like, you're not gonna
people looking to shame.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I think just in general, like you said, just by the nature of DFS, not everyone wins. Most people lose. And a lot of people are going to be on these long losing streaks to where everyone's just pissed off and angry the majority of the time online. And I think that's
the worst people are the ones that sign up and just think they're automatically going to win for their $80 a month. Like, those are the people that are the hardest to deal with for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about with Ricky D last week, too, is just like the mental tolls like gambling and DFS really take on you. And if you don't have a healthy, whether it's a mechanical, like robotic relationship with it or just a very zen approach, I think you're going to probably turn into a pretty crummy person if you're not checking yourself.
Yeah. I have a whole rebuttal for Ricky D. I've been mulling over. I'm not going to do it. We don't have enough time, but like I think gamblers get a bad rap, and I think gambling in general gets a bad rap. Gambling's entertainment, and it's not much different than movies or something like that. And we're just a cog in the system. But like, and everyone just kind of generally thinks that it's just like the wild, wild west gambling casino where you're getting ripped off, and gambling's a tax on stupid people and shit like that. And so I think if it was a different industry, maybe we'd have a different opinion on it. But yeah, you gotta respect it though. I totally get where he's coming from and agree with it. His general thesis though.
Yeah. Do you think gamblers get a bad rap, Big T?
I've known that. I mean, I was in poker for 10 years before DFS too. I don't think they get a bad rap. The ones that, I mean, some do, but for the most part, the people that get bad raps have earned it through doing stuff they shouldn't do, or dumping money, or owing money to people. I mean, I could say 1,000 different stories of different things that have happened. Most of the time, people earn it. Sure, there's tons of times people maybe get a rap they didn't deserve, but that's just the minority of the situations, I think.
I meant gambling in general, not like gamblers, or specific gamblers. But like, obviously, like in Hollywood, there's plenty of people who've done some pretty shitty things, but no one looks down at the entertainment industry. You know what I mean? But lots of people just look down at the gambling industry. I would say that's the consensus view, is like it's just a degen thing, right? Where it's really just an entertainment choice. You don't expect to get anything back after you pay for a movie. Why would you expect to get anything back if you're paying, I got a whole rant I'm still mulling over on this stuff.
Do you think DFS needs more of the like Negreanu Hulk feud heads up matches, kind of like what we got with the Osimo and Empire Maker stuff, or do you think we don't need that kind of spotlight?
I'm always for that stuff. I think the battles like that are good for it overall. I mean, I don't really see how, as long as they stay good-natured like they did, Osimo and Empire both did it. I think they both handled it for the most part good. I mean, obviously there was some trash talk, but I think it's always a good thing, and I don't really see a downside to it. What's the downside to it?
No, I don't. It's not that there's downside. It's just like, it's almost like we need more of it, but there's just like the way DFS kind of, I don't know. There's something about poker that I think makes it a little more outspoken.
Poker's more of like a heads up thing too. You can kind of do it easier in the poker world. Where like if someone challenged me right now, like I don't want to play someone heads up. Like I'd rather just play the tournaments. Like, well, let's just play the tournaments for the next month and see who makes more money. And then who cares? Because we're gonna make the money anyways. I don't know. Like in poker, you can always do it for the most part.
Owe wants a nerds versus jocks head to head here.
As we both just said, heads up, stupid. It's poker. I would rather play a heads up poker challenge against Big T.
Oh, I'm sure you would.
Well, I don't know how. I haven't played a hand since 2011, so you can.
I like your chances. No, I like your chances for sure. That I mean, I'm not bad, but I can almost.
I don't want to play poker. Though I was joking. The last thing I want to do. Is
T, poker. How long ago does the RG Poker Open seem? That seems like 4 lifetimes ago.
It feels like a very long time ago for sure. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened since then.
Yeah, that night, you mentioned Tommy G. Tommy G came on into the stream. Were you on the stream when he came on at the end?
I think I'm the one that got him on, maybe, or Chop did, maybe. You know, one of us did. But yeah, that was that was a crazy night.
Well, T, we appreciate you hopping on with us tonight, despite being on vacation. It was good to chop it up with you, man.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Whenever you guys want, I'll come and talk about whatever.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your golf debauchery.
Thanks, guys. Have fun. Thanks for having me.
Peace out.
All right, Brian. Any final words here before we get out of here?
No, I was just about to grill him on his process, but we ran out of time.
You saved that for 1 minute left of the show.
I feel that's all it would have taken.
Wow. Okay.
Come on, I'm busting balls. I'm busting balls.
And then you wait till the guest is off to get your good jokes in.
I was busting balls, but we know he's not. He's not a numbers guy, as he says all the time.
He's not an adjunct professor at
he's not
University of Connecticut.
He's not a part-time professor at the University of Connecticut. No.
All right, guys, if you guys want to continue to book yourself on Lolz, and you either have over 5,000 Twitter followers per siege, or you've won a Millie Maker, those are kind of the bars of entry.
And we're actually getting backed up on some of the requests to come on. So, and we want to do ones by ourselves occasionally. I mean,
yeah. Yes. But I don't know, Brian, you're a hot ticket. You got all these guys are sliding into your DMs, not mine.
Did you slide into Whistle Goes Woo's DM, or did he?
No, someone tracked down his email for us. Remember his Yukon email? And then I cold called his email.
And we got to do, what we could do is the UFC thing eventually.
Yeah. We keep saying we got to do that.
I know, but that way we can get a bunch of guys on at once.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. All right, guys, we're back. By the way, for the Run the Sims, there's still the free projections right now for season long, but the bundle deal at 200 with promo code Pete is going to end on August 1st. It's going to go up $50. So if you were planning on using those tools this season, you get the bankroll tracker with that. You can lock that in now for $200. That link is down below. I'm also going to be giving away one of those tomorrow on the randomizer stream with Pat Mayo to a randomizer box owner. But yeah, we'll be having lots more about Run the Sims coming. Brian, I can feel it today on the Swolecast. I realized 6 weeks until we would be in week 1 mode.
Oh man, I haven't done anything on my NFL stuff. Not one thing yet.
But Pete, cracking.
Bromo code.
Bromo, I like it. I do really like that. It is good. I'm kind of upset that I hadn't thought of that.
Bromo code Pete.
All right, guys, sign up for Run the Sims with Bromo code Pete. I'm Bromo code Pete. He's Bromo Brian Hooper. We'll see you guys next week.